Welcome to the Sounds of Chicago podcast, brought to you by the Chicago Music Guide. Hello, my name is Mark, and this is a podcast dedicated to the vibrant local Chicago music scene. Chicago has a very storied history when it comes to music. We'll talk to local artists and capture the feeling of the thriving local live music scene. Today, I'll be talking to two artists that can be seen on stages all over the Chicago area. Award-winning artists, the creators of shy pop for the genre-blending band Attack the Sound, Keyz and Davo Sounds. Hi guys, good to see you.
Hey, how's it going?
Not too bad. How are you today?
I got no complaints. I'm alive and well, so you know.
Like somebody told me once, "Hey, today I'm staring down at the grass. It's a good day."
That's pretty good, yeah.
Not looking up at it.
Yeah.
So, that's a good one. So, first I want to ask you guys, Chicago natives?
Yes, I was born and raised in Chicago on the west side.
Okay.
So I'm from, the city.
Yeah.
Low Keyz, however.
Low Keyz?
I was born in the city, but I actually stayed in the suburbs.
Okay.
So I didn't really get to experience much of the city life, but now I am, so making up for it.
Well, I mean, it's such a great place because we do have that advantage there where we can check out both, and I grew up on the southwest side by Midway Airport, so I'm a city kid.
Yeah.
And born and raised, Curie High School, class of '83.
Oh, man. Date yourself there.
Yeah. Sorry. Oops, I shouldn't have said.
Yeah.
Well, first let me ask, Low Keyz, how did you get started in music?
Well, I started back in high school.
Okay.
I discovered that instead of sports, I decided, I think I'm going to actually try to get into the music. So I remember downloading my first program. I did a bunch of DAW work. So I worked in Logic Pro, FL Studio, and that's how I started. And I started kind of making my own songs and going from there. I did a bunch of talent shows every now and then. So it was pretty much, I don't want to do athletics anymore. Right. I got to do music. So that's how it's been.
Okay. And how did you start playing piano?
I started when I was younger.
Wow. Okay.
My dad, he showed me a couple of chords. And sometimes, he wasn't able to show me things. So I just took it upon myself to learn some music theory and, other things that could help my piano playing. And so now it's been quite a bit of time. So I'm still doing it.
Excellent. That's good news. Good to hear. So, and Davo, how about you?
Started music really young as well. Family was heavy in the church and sung in the choir, and I had uncles that were musicians. So it was basically just a matter of time and figuring out where my place was. And I sang in the choir for a bunch, mostly alto. And as I started getting older, my voice started to crack and change. And I couldn't keep up, and I didn't want to necessarily sing tenor. It just felt weird. Right. So I left the choir, and I was like, I got to do something. And I started teaching myself how to play guitar. Okay. So, at that moment, I was just like, if I'm going to do this, what do I want to do with playing guitar? And I've always enjoyed watching performers like Michael Jackson and Lenny Kravitz and Jimi Hendrix and stuff like that. And I was like, I want to do something like that. That's where I want to be. If I'm going to do this, I think it'd be a cool goal or aspiration to set to get to that type of heights, playing the festivals and touring and things like that. So, but started there and just kind of kept with it and just would transform or change, the medium that I was in. And eventually, once I was playing guitar, and I was able to retrain and teach myself how to sing with my new voice. And I was like, okay, I'll be here for a bit.
Okay. So, and how did you retrain yourself?
The long, hard way, and this is for all the artists out there, nothing comes easy.
Of course.
But I would sit in my room, I would pick up the guitar, so I'm learning how to play guitar. I'm not good at it. And I would just pluck a string, and then I will hum that note. Okay. Right? And so I don't have perfect pitch. I don't even know if relative pitch would be it, but I've just heard things enough that I kind of know it. I get close in the ballpark. Right. But I was so bad that my mom would scream up to the because I was on the second floor. Whoa. And she was all the time just telling me quiet down because it does not sound good. Close the window, the neighbors can hear you. You know what I mean? I think I'm finally getting somewhere, and it's just no, it's not. But that didn't discourage me. It was just like I knew what it was that I wanted to do.
Sure.
So it takes grueling hours of consistency, right? Every day I picked up the guitar and I'd play a line and I'd hum that line and I would whisper when I was singing because I couldn't sing and play at the same time. But I eventually got a couple of chords together.
Figured it out.
Yeah, to play a song. So I had to whisper to sing. Until I could get louder and louder and louder. And I remember the first song I learned. It was called "Hate Me" by Blue October.
Okay.
And I just remember when I was finally able to sing at my full range or
full voice,
with the guitar. Yeah, it still was bad, but I was just like, oh, I've got it. I can't wait till I get better at singing. Because now I figured out how to project and sing while simultaneously doing this guitar. Because my mom used to use the famous, saying I couldn't chew bubblegum and walk at the same time. I couldn't. I was all over the place. So for me to be able to do that, it was only a matter of time before I could, pat my head and rub my belly.
Yeah, well, it's great when you reach those plateaus. I mean, it's such an aha moment and breakthrough, and it feeds you that I got to this point now, and I know what I had to do to get there. So now I got to get to the next spot, next plateau. Let's climb a little higher.
Yeah,
son. And so, Keyz, are you singing as well?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and what was your vocal journey?
I also started in the choir, just like Davo here. I ended up being a choir director at one point.
Wow.
For the youth choir, and then when I went to college, I also was the director there as well for about a year or so. So I'd always been doing vocal things, choirs, talent shows, different scenarios.
Nice. That's fantastic. So now, is Attack the Sound your first band?
No, it's not, but at the same time it is. It's the same group. Well, at least let me go back. All right, so Attack the Sound, I was in a previous group where we were called Doorway. We were a Journey cover band.
Oh, wow. And you're singing Journey?
Yeah, we were singing Journey.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, vocal range-wise.
No, I was able to hit the stuff.
Yeah.
It was just the only reason why we did is because the guy whose house we would practice at, his dad was very much a conservative Christian, and he didn't want us playing and learning anything other than stuff to play at church. And I was like, okay, no problem, because I knew that they had the Wednesday stuff, and me and the guy were friends. So I was like, okay, we'll play some stuff for the church. And I started to realize that a lot of those contemporary Christian songs we were learning were so simple that the chords were similar
to rock songs.
Exactly. Yeah. And then I started realizing there's some Journey songs that use the same chords. Yeah. So I started to slip that in there.
Okay.
And that's the reason why we started as a Journey cover band, because we learned all these Journey songs, and it happened that his dad is a huge fan of Journey. So it was like, okay, we're about to learn every contemporary Christian song that we can learn, worship song that is a mirror to a Journey song, because he'll let us rehearse it.
Right.
And then if he hears us playing Journey, he's going to be okay with that.
Right.
And then I'll find so I started writing songs that had similar chords to hide the fact that we were actually learning original music.
Right.
So we would do a couple of shows as Journey cover band, and then that fourth show would be original music. But we started as Doorway.
Okay.
So we started as Doorway, and then Doorway split up, and it became a two-piece. A guy with a djembe, and then I play guitar. We were called Toothpicks and Chew Sticks, and we would busk a lot on the subways, on the street in Chicago. And I'd always had aspirations to build out something Earth, Wind, and Fire-esque, right? Yeah. And so he was down for it, and he actually started teaching himself how to play bass. All right, so he started teaching himself how to play bass. We started getting other musicians, and Toothpicks and Chew Sticks just didn't have the same ring. No,
it's a good name. Yeah, but yeah.
So we were looking for a name, and most of the shows we were at, we always had some type of problem, right? Like, we're in the inner city, like we don't have a lot of money. Most of the gear is hand me down.
Right.
So we had a ton of technical difficulties.
Sure.
And we decided to like wear that on the face, right? So we called ourselves Technical Difficulties. Don't worry, kids. Every band's great name doesn't start out as a great one.
No, it sure doesn't.
But I've had a few. All right. And then I started to realize that there were two other groups that were more established than us that had the names Technical Difficulties. And I've never been the greatest musician, the greatest vocalist, but I've always had a foresight for business. And I knew that if we wanted to continue down this route, which I knew I was going to do because I'm still here today, that if those bands don't ever quit, and if they become bigger first,
can't use that name.
Exactly. I'm fighting for the name. I'm fighting for the space. I'm fighting for the SEO.
Right.
And before I even understood any of that, I just knew like I would have to fight them on everything technical difficulties.
Right.
And I don't want to do that. So we
best to change
exactly
name. And
so we just decided to change the name. And it's interesting because a lot of guys in the band, some were older than me at the time. And this is like 2009, 2010 at this point. No one else thought to just do a quick Google search to see if there was another band called Technical Difficulties. So I looked for Technical Difficulties, found the two bands. It was one in America, one in the UK. And so it was like, okay, that name's out.
Right.
And then we changed to Attack the Sound by we put a bunch of names in a hat,
right,
essentially. And we were working on an album that was called Affect the Sound, and I also threw that in there to call the band the same name, because I was like, well, let's just call this Affect the Sound. We are Affect the Sound. And it was a play on words for ETS, which is in the military, it's your estimated time of service.
Okay.
And seeing that I had joined the military by this point, it was like, this makes sense, because I'm trying to use the music as a vehicle for my estimated time of service, so that when I leave the military to do music.
Right.
And once we started pulling names out of the hat, I'll just tell you that Affect the Sound did not get the overwhelming support that I thought it would.
Right, not the, oh, wow, hey, that's the light bulb moment of this is the name.
Exactly. Yeah. And someone else had something in the hat that had Attack something. And I was like, and that they really liked that one. And I was like, well, this is my band, so how about this? Attack the Sound. It's like, actually, yeah, I could get behind that. I was like, sweet.
And did you go out and get it trademarked right away?
Yeah. Well, not right away. It did take some time because we're still really early on. Like, we're playing all the gigs that everybody wants to play. We're not making any money. We're playing Reggie's. We're playing U.S. Beer Co. We're playing
Montrose. I think I saw you guys at, right?
Yeah, Montrose. But this was, we didn't play Montrose like right away. I'm talking about like,
back when you started.
Then, like Technical Difficulties played at some really big venues back in like 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011.
Wow.
That most bands have issues getting into. We're talking Buddy Guy's Legends, like Reggie's Rock Club. The U.S. Beer Company is not there anymore,
right?
But we played there. There's another one, Abbey. I think it's called Abbey Pub.
Yeah, the Abbey.
Yeah, the Abbey. We played there. Like, there's huge places. The Wire. Like, we played at huge places.
The places in national touring acts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it was like, we're playing at all these places. It's fun. We're opening for all these guys, but we're not making any money. So I couldn't trademark the stuff. So I was like, you know, fingers crossed. Let's just hope that no one takes it before. So I would do a search every now and again. So so starting it, but essentially it's been a lot of the same people that have crossed over from each of those projects. That all of it technically is Attack the Sound, but or Attack the Sound's journey into shy pop, I would say. But every year or every iteration was a learning lesson. Like the first band, I learned so much from we learned so much from just studying Journey and pushing my vocal range, because I never felt like a great singer, but I could hit some of those notes and people were like, that was good.
Well, if you can,
it didn't even matter if I sound good. It was just like, if I got to the point that note that everybody wanted to hear and I hit it, I'm like, yeah, okay, cool.
You're in.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
So I learned so much about just, you know, writing music and understanding people, and added with my business sense that it just helped me, you know, grow ATS to where I am now. So this is my only band that I've ever been in.
Wow.
But
it's evolved over time to become what it is today.
Exactly.
So, well, you initially said that you were secretly writing songs, next to the Journey songs and the contemporary Christian stuff. So what's your songwriting process like? Because, man, you come in from a lot of different angles.
Yeah. So it varies. It depends on really what the song is. And Keyz and I, we write together all the time. And there's sometimes that we can start with the beat. Mm-hmm. So we can start with the beat, a track, or we can start with the piano or guitar, any type of accompaniment, and mold the lyrics to the feeling of the music. Mm-hmm. But there's also sometimes where I start with the story. Okay. I was like, here is the story, and we are going to figure out how to make that happen. And so it really just depends on the space that you're in. I even have a song that we play live called Glad You Came, and I've been having no success on it for quite a while. So I scrapped the whole thing. And the only thing we built this song around was charcuterie board.
The word
charcuterie board. We basically built this whole song for this one punchline.
Right.
And it worked.
Not lying.
And it worked. I told them, I'm like, hey guys, I don't know what I want the song to be, but I just know that we have to say
gotta throw this
something like a charcuterie board. That's the punchline. Yeah. I don't know the stuff before. I don't know the stuff after. We gotta figure it out. It has to be it. And as we started developing the story, we were like, we're doing everything in the story just to get to that one punchline. Right. And so it really depends on the song, and it can also depend on the genre too. Mm-hmm. So, because rock songs are really, really easy to write. Yeah, because the chords don't have to be very complex.
No, the structure doesn't need to be complex. Yeah. It can be A B A B A B C A B.
Exactly.
Done.
So as but when you do something that's more R&B, like you've got a lot more complicated, you got passing chords that are in there.
Right. Well, that was because one of my questions for you was a lot of the songs that you have, all of a sudden there's just a passing jazz chord that goes back into the song. It's like, wow, that's really cool. I take notes, write that down, because I want to try and do that the next time I try and write something.
Oh yeah, dude, but that comes a lot for Keyz does it a bunch because she played in the church. We do a lot of stuff like that in the church, like jazz and gospel. Right. It's the
two sides of the coin.
The same coin, because those same musicians that really pushed gospel to the forefront were all jazz musicians.
Oh, sure.
And you can even see that. I would say jazz or soul, but those worlds would always cross, because those soul singers all came from the church, linked up with jazz musicians.
That's Aretha.
And then they were exactly. Yeah. That's Sam. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
That was Quincy Jones,
and all the Detroit players who ended up being in not the Wrecking Crew. What did they call themselves? The house band at Motown.
Oh yeah.
Were all players in church, players in the jazz clubs, and then going and being, Barry Gordy's band,
And so we're very much influenced by those, and we listen to this music, and growing up singing it, you hear it all the time. So it becomes second nature. It's like, oh, that passing chord is. It's like, I don't know what's supposed to be here, but something's supposed to be here. Then we find it, and it's like, okay, we found it, and we move on. But then you're like, what was that? Yeah, wait a minute.
Yeah, why is that spin there? That back. Let me hear it again. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Very cool.
You just very much get used to it. There's a couple of rock bands that add good chords like that. Like I did a really deep study into Smashing Pumpkins, and if you break down 1979 and look at the actual chords, he's playing all jazz chords.
Oh sure,
just electrified. And I was like, this guy's a genius. But then they have the passing chords in there as well. Another one, Foo Fighters.
Right.
The Foo Fighters have. Yeah, and I know that they're supposed to be this grunge band, or they evolved from grunge, into, but there's passing chords, and a lot of the songs Dave Grohl has, and I played a lot of these songs, so I was like, wait a minute, I know what that is, so it's kind of...
Well, and also the rhythms, too, Everlong is almost like a bossa nova rhythm.
Oh, yeah,
and
that's one of my favorite.
Yeah. So, it's just... It's great that people can draw on all these different genres and different feels and vibes, and just like for a song, sometimes that I would write something, I'll hear a rhythm in the grocery store of something. I can barely hear the song, but I'm like, okay, I like this beat, and just kind of keep it in my head, go home, grab the guitar, and start writing, and it's great how that magic works.
Yeah.
Right? So, okay, so what, you said those were some of the first gigs at Reggie's. What were the first gigs like? What was the feeling there? Were you good reception from the crowd?
The first gigs, thinking all the way back here, were terrible. They were absolutely terrible, guys. Okay, listen.
Okay, why is that?
It's interesting because I have so much more insight into our music and the stuff that we do now. And so I'll start by saying, when I look at the demographic of the groups that listen to my music, right, it is like 80% Chicago.
Right.
And then 70% male. Mm-hmm. And then it's like 70% African American.
Okay.
Well, I'll tell you who was least receptive to my music in the very beginning.
Right, because you were playing Journey covers.
And so it was always like, but even though we would play the Journey covers, we would always still try to slip in other songs. And it's just those first gigs, there was no real understanding of who our target audience needed to be, because we were still trying to figure out who we were. So I think back on them, and it's cool in the rock space because rock and punk and all that stuff, like, it's anti, right? A lot of spaces, so it allows for, okay, this is a little different. That's works. Okay. Sure, you should have a space to be able to be you. Rock on, and so we kept getting shows, but it was never the grasp that you would want from an engagement, right? Because it's like, I'm building followership, and also and I'm sure you know this, but being able to track your followership and all that stuff has gotten so much easier.
Yes.
Like, we have the Facebook, like, professional page, Instagram. You got things like Reverb
through
Nation.
CD Baby, and
you got all of that. We didn't have that, so the only way you knew was if you showed up at a show and people showed up,
and signed you for your email list.
Yeah, exactly. Man, it's crazy that I am not that old, but I'm old enough to remember all of that stuff. Some of you guys are lucky.
Yeah,
you don't know what it's like to put out that sheet of paper and say, sign my email list, please. Join me. And then and then back then I didn't even know how to set up a newsletter. Right. So you get these emails and it's like, what do I do with these?
Right. How do I talk to these people?
What do I do now?
Yeah, well,
so it was a mixed bag. Is the best way to say it. I wouldn't say that it was terrible. It was terrible for us not knowing our demographic, but it was always a mixed bag because I never really knew what was coming through the door and showing up at the shows. Right. But there was always people there. That's
the key. Yeah. This butts and seats. That's what they,
Yeah.
Okay. So now you said that you are drawing from different styles, and I wanted to ask you about a lot of the songs feature horns. Who is Keyz? Do you do the arrangement for the horns, or who does that?
Well, before I joined the band, Will would do most of the arrangements. He actually had another producer, Isaiah Sharkey, assisting him with that. But now, since I've joined, I kind of dabble here and say, hey, play this part. And so I do have a part of it now. Yeah. But mostly, it's him. He's the mastermind of it all.
But when you meet people, this is another lesson learned, guys. When someone comes along and they are exceptionally better or brighter and faster than you are, that is not a time to put ego first. Right. Okay? Drop the ego and let those individuals shine because they help you shine. So there's a lot of things that Keyz does that I was doing before, but she's faster. She's smarter. Okay, and she's just better at it. Okay. So I was just like, that would have taken me a week to figure out, and it took you literally 30 seconds. So like our vocal arrangements for like the live performances and stuff, Lo does it. Some of the horn arrangements, like, and then it helps me with my toolkit because now I could see. It's like, how did ask questions like, how did you figure? What were you thinking about? Like, we just did an arrangement for a piece that we have recorded, and we wanted to make it better live. Okay. And I had like this whole plan of how I wanted to do it. I wanted to do every part the same and then break it down into sections to change it. And she's like, oh, no. And she's doing her thing, and I'm talking. She's like, shut up, please. And then before I know it, she plays it, and I'm like, this is exactly what I wanted.
It's exactly what I heard in my head.
You didn't have to go through all of the stuff that I went through. I had like this huge sandwich, and then I was going to take things away to make it perfect. You were like, no, why don't you just do it like this in the first place? And I'm like, no, you're right. I'm going to shut up. I'm going to go sit down.
Well, it's just the sign of any good manager or band leader is that you know your team's strengths and you draw on those strengths.
Yeah.
That's what you have to do. One thing I really do enjoy, as listening through your SoundCloud page, got a lot of really cool covers.
Oh yeah.
For example, like "Hurt," the 9 Inch Nails, Johnny Cash song.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh, this
really
guy went deep here.
Oh yeah. I was checking you out, and My Favorite Things. I
love that one.
Yeah, what a great cover too. It's
Thank you.
An evergreen cover. How did you choose to cover that one?
So specifically with Favorite Things, we and also this Christmas, and what had happened is after COVID. When I came back from my deployment, and I was like, hey guys, I'm back, let's gear up, let's go.
Yeah.
But I'd realized I'd been gone for so long that I was very much nervous about where the band was collectively. And that's just a me thing. Like I'm like, I know that they're fantastic musicians, but I'm nervous about if we can all play together.
Sure.
You can play, like a drummer, link up with another group to play for 9 months, whatever, fine. But we haven't been playing together, so we may have some like habits that we got to remove.
Sure.
So I did like 6 weeks of nothing but jazz standards.
Wow.
So I was like and we were rehearsing twice a week. And I was like, every day we come here, we are working jazz standards, because we know, one thing we do know is that these songs never change.
Right.
And so you're going to learn to play the song exactly the way that it's written.
Okay.
Right. And then if you're not, it's going to be clearly heard. So either you slacked off while I was deployed. Right. And so we did these jazz standards, and that was my thing. And it was also my training tool to keep me like active and focused when I was deployed, because I didn't really have a lot of time to play. So if I picked up a guitar, it was like a couple of jazz standards, and then I was back to war, combat, whatever. So we did that, and as we started to get very comfortable with the jazz standards, I was like, okay guys, I got a couple of ideas. And like, how about we take like the Coltrane version and marry this into here, and anyone that actually listens to it and get to the middle of the song, right, and I'm not going to give this away, but I'll just tell you, in the middle of that song we interpolate a very famous like jazz song inside of there. And so we were like, okay, let's do these standards and let's see what else we can do with it. How creative can we be, just so that we can start to develop our creativity moving forward once we get back into like our original music, and to
gel as a band again, and get familiar with each other and your playing styles. Because I mean, one of the things that I've found when I'm in a long band situation is I actually stopped listening to myself. I end up listening to the other players, because I know my parts. My parts are going to be okay, but I'll listen to the drummer and I'll listen to other things going on around me, and hopefully that'll push me to be a little better too.
Absolutely.
So okay, there was that cover. Also, there was local artist song "Eye of the Tiger."
Oh yeah,
interesting cover.
Oh, and you got to see that on SoundCloud, but Survivor's actually co-signed that song for us 3 times.
Really?
They've shared it. They've responded to like an inbox. I was like, hey, this is a really cool cover, guys. And I'm like, oh my god.
Right, Jim Peterick's a local guy. Yeah. He's out in Burr Ridge.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was at his house once, and he calls it the house that Eye of the Tiger built. Because every day, if there's a Jell-O commercial of somebody training and Eye of the Tiger is in it, cha-ching, he gets a check.
Oh, right, of course.
So
royalties.
Royalties are coming in nonstop for that. And I mean, he didn't. He also wrote a lot of, like, there's a band 38 Special. Any of the hit songs by them, this guy wrote.
Oh wow.
Hung Up on You, if you know that song by
Yeah.
Hung Up. That's one of his. There's an old song called Vehicle by the Ides of March. You'll know the horn progression.
Okay.
Da 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 bum ba da da. It's an old Chicago song.
Okay.
Yeah. Low Keyz, you know that one?
No.
Yeah. I'm a
Okay.
friendly stranger in the black sedan. Would you come inside? That's one of his also. Yeah. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And I mostly picked that song specifically because first things first, there used to be a commercial in like the early 2000s
Sure.
where it was like I think it was a Dunkin' Donuts commercial.
Oh, of course.
And they were basically talking about how you don't have any energy for work, but once you get coffee, then you're ready to
Sure.
go. And so they show like this guy in the elevator, and he's like just drained, and these guys are the Eye of the Tiger in the back, and they're saying, his name,
they were
Mike,
behind him, right?
Mike,
yeah.
Mike, and then he finally was like, "What the heck?" And he drinks some coffee, and he's lit up. And then like the last guy who gets in the elevator was Dave.
Yeah.
Dave.
Dave.
So people used to like mess with me about that all the time, and so like I
got to cover that song now.
Yeah. And obviously I watched Rocky, so it was
Sure.
just like I already knew the actual song. Then I saw how it was being used in a sync capacity, like for that commercial, and I thought it was comical. But I was like, there's a lot of power behind this song.
Yeah.
I was like, why not? You know what I mean? Like, what's the worst that could happen? And I'll tell you, the initial reception of that song, like on our Facebook, was not well received by a lot of music purists, because that's the thing. When you make a cover and you're creative, you know, not everybody's gonna like it.
Right.
You know, some people are just like, hey, I like the original version. That's it. That's all.
Okay, so you do,
no
but
problem.
now you have both.
Exactly. If you want the original version,
there it
I'm not
is.
stopping you from going to listen to it.
Yeah,
but then there started to be more people that were like, actually, this is really cool. This is funky. This is groovy. I was like, oh, okay. Because
you say he is local and he does play. It's Jim Peterick, and you know, go check him out and introduce yourself at a show.
Absolutely will. I was like, dude, you have literally reposted my song.
Yeah, thank you. So, but yeah, I want to talk about a couple of the original songs that are also on SoundCloud out there. Music Soul on Fire.
Yeah.
Love the guitar work. That's all you doing all the leads on that?
Not me doing all the leads. I did
that was
some of the rhythm. Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy who played with us at the time, his name was Zeke Lakai, and he was like 16, 17,
Wow.
and another guy who was learned jazz really young. He picked up the guitar, and within a year he was already shredding. It's just natural.
Yeah.
It fell into his hands, and it was just natural.
Okay.
And he was looking for a place to play at the time, and nobody would take him on because he was 16. But I'd known him his entire life. I know his family. His mother was one of my music mentors as I was trying to grow up in the scene. So I was like, I mean, they've helped me. You know, they not only have they helped me, but they fed me before.
Wow.
I helped this kid out. So I brought him on, and you know, there was plenty of places, and also I started playing at a lot of bars when I was 16, like a lot of blues places. They would kind of, you know, hey, come in through the back, you sit in to play, and then you leave by 10:30, get back to school.
Don't go anywhere near the bar.
Exactly. That's why I had to come in through the back. But they were. So I was like, I know that. You know, this can be done, and if talent speaks for itself, then you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And so I had him on, and he actually. That was the only song that we recorded.
It wasn't him on pick up your phone.
No.
That's you.
Yeah, that's what comes to me. But and he was fantastic, and it was electrifying. The live shows were electrifying, and he ended up getting signed to a deal with Chance the Rapper's younger brother, Taylor Bennett, and after that he kind of went off, and there's a lot of stuff that you do at that higher level, like you're trying to find the biggest person to work with and so on and so forth. So yeah, I have time, but as of now, he's back in the city. He does teach classes and stuff like that, but he still goes on tour every now and again.
And we talked to another player last week, and once that door opens up, and he emphasized be as professional as possible, but once that door opens up for you, you work constantly.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Okay, so now I want to ask you guys about something. You mentioned distribution, and you have a very, very strong business approach to what you're doing with this. So you have a sync deal with Winding Way Records. What exactly is a sync deal?
So listen up, guys.
Yeah.
A sync deal is essentially you're signing with a label or publishing company, and they focus on trying to place your music in movies, TVs, even sometimes placement on radios. Mm-hmm. And so when we released our single "Love Is War," that way during the pandemic, it got so much attention that I wasn't even fully aware of. I didn't even know. It just was a happenstance. I found out about it later. As a matter of fact, last week I found out how big it was, but during the pandemic.
Okay.
But it was, it was well received, and especially in like South America, over in Australia and New Zealand and Fiji. And had I known that, I would have submitted it for the ARI charts, which is the Australian charts.
Okay.
And probably could have. Either way, it was well received, and so came along winding way. And just a nice guy. John is fantastic, and they're still really, like, it feels really homegrown, and they're based out of Philly, I believe. Can't remember directly, but they're based on the East Coast, and he was great, always available, and so yeah, they focus on that lane, you know. Okay. So there's a lot of sync opportunities. So we're in quite a few. We're listening to a sync opportunity on the way here. We worked on one last week, so we do quite a bit of sync in different capacities. I just sent out 12 songs for sync.
Now, these are songs you've already recorded, or are these like demos that you're sending out?
So a lot of stuff that we work on are more like demos that we're recording for like other people. Like she'll like do a voice reference for another artist. Okay. And things like that. And so we'll work on that. And then the opportunity I sent out for yesterday was our already recorded songs. Okay. Because they ask for very specific things, and they give a short deadline. Like when they come directly to you, you get a little bit more time, and they say, hey, we're writing a song for SZA. Okay. And we want you to do the reference, and we need it to sound like this, and we need it by this time. And you kind of get a little bit more time for the deadlines, because it's something that they're going to pitch to the camp. Right. So it's not a rush thing. Right. But in terms of, like, let's say
you're on a deadline, but not like it's crucial and this needs to be done by tomorrow.
Right. But let's say like it's like Grey's Anatomy. All their new seasons coming out, and we need music by this time, so we can listen to all of it, so that we can clear it and sync it. With the clearing and stuff, they need that as soon as possible, because if they like it and there are samples, like, they got to go through a whole process of clearing that and stuff. So we kind of, we got to
run it through legal.
Exactly. So we branch up in quite a few sync kind of environments.
Oh, that's great. So that's another aspect of your musical career is you're writing songs for other artists and getting the sync deal, and then distributing music on your own online. Having I think you said an EP out from 2020, was it? I think.
No, we released a bunch. And
then there's been a series of singles.
Yeah, in 2021 we had Reboot of the Sound, like, and this is all like just the business side of it. So we released an EP in like 2017 that I've kind of retconned, so don't go looking for it. But it was great. It was a bunch of songs that I've been putting together over the years of building the band and trying to develop the sound that we have now. But I just didn't have the know-how or the musicians with the skill set to make that come to life. So I did a lot of stuff on my own, a lot of production that I did on my own, or I worked with someone else. And so I had a bunch of singles, and I just put it together into an EP. Okay. Well, the good thing about it is that we had a project. And for the artists out there that don't know this, but most like labels and agencies and even venues, they like when you have a project, because you can tour around the project, you can work off of the project, you can eat off of the project. Doesn't matter how many as long as it's like 60 minutes or more, but it doesn't matter how big it was. It just matters that you have a collection of work. They still very much work off of off of like a 70s like idea of how music should go.
It hasn't changed that much.
Right. And so we had that project out, and we were working off of that. The band that I had built and was building was like, well, we didn't have a part in making this song, so we don't want to play it. It's like, what are you talking about? This is a song that they hired us. Right. This is the reason why we're playing this show. What are you talking about? You don't want to play it.
You could take it and make it your own, though. You know, it's like, this is us playing an old song. It can be ours now. We can bring our own flourishes to it, our own style, and it can be. And so they were something new.
So they're doing a lot of pushback from it, and I'm like, well, we're gonna work. So I don't know what to tell you. Right. And then I said, you know what? The least I can do is listen to what it is that that my team is saying to me. So we ended up going to the studio and recording. We were originally going to go and re-record "Love Is War," which was "Love Is War" was originally on that EP,
right?
And it was just acoustic. It was just acoustic in my voice. And then we were going to go do that. It fell through, but we ended up meeting James Artwater, who's one of Kanye West's producers. He actually lives in the UK now. Really cool guy, fantastic studio, cool soul. And from working with him, I just picked up so much like a sponge.
Oh, sure.
Watching like, this is a far stark from us recording in the basement.
Right.
Because we did Music Soul and Fire in our basement.
Oh, wow.
Like in a basement.
Sounds great.
Yeah. That came later. I'll tell you that story later.
Okay.
But so I learned so much from James, and I'm like, okay, I know what I got to do here. I'm going to scrap Love Is War. I'm going to go to a brand new song that we are only playing live, and we're going to take all these techniques that I learned from being in the studio.
Right.
And we're going to produce
and apply it to this. Okay.
And it was called Bad News.
All right.
And so in Bad News, I was like, hey, we're gonna practice for the next 2 weeks on exactly how I want you guys to do this song. We're gonna go to the studio as a group. We're not all gonna record at the same time, but I'm gonna break it up. I'm gonna do a guitar with a click and my voice as a reference track. Then I'm gonna have the drums and bass record.
Follow that.
And then I'll get rid of that vocals.
Sure.
So we got rid of that, and because now the drums and bass have set my actual structure for the song. Right. And then all I have to do is just fill everything in. Fill everything in. I added the horns. I added everything in, including the horns, before I ever added my voice, because I already knew where I wanted to go, and I made sure that the bass was following me. I'm playing guitar, and then I hired another session guy to come in, and he did a lot of the nice feels and stuff. Okay. And so after that, it was like, I know exactly how I need this thing to go, so it doesn't matter. As long as the horns hit their part, we'll be fine. So I learned how to work like that, watching like an actual like professional work, and I was just like, wow, this is great.
This is how it's done.
So now we had a song that they could get behind, and before you know it, like that took off in 2019, right? And everything after that just kind of flowed as much. So so yeah.
So now, tell me about then. You said you improved the sound on the EP. You said you wanted to get back to that?
Yeah, so how did that happen? I started looking at the songs on the EP that the band actually did enjoy playing, except they were like, oh. So there was a couple of songs that you'll never see. Like, they were on SoundCloud only. Okay. But, you know, so the ones that they liked, I made a vow to go back and re-record, redo, re-release. Sure. And that's every single that you see.
Right. You see a lot with different featured artists and
all those singles up to the most recent song, Dia. Okay. Because those songs were always great, just the quality was not. The quality was really bad. And so I say, you know what, I've got to improve the quality, and I really want these songs to stand. So with the Music Soul and Fire, after I sat and I watched how bands record live, right? And it's not always the same people from the band recording on the album, like the session guys, but I watched how they record, and then I took those old files from Music Soul and Fire, because then I got to sit in the mixing sessions, and I learned this really important tool called panning.
Oh,
yeah, panning. Okay.
This way?
Yeah.
And that way.
And we did not do a lot of panning in those early songs.
Yeah, you got to spread the mix out a little bit.
There was no spread. And so I watched this guy like mix. Yeah. I was like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I need. So then I started reading up on it. I'm reading, Ableton has a user manual.
Right.
I don't do a lot of this reading stuff, especially user manuals. That's normally Lauren's thing because she's a nerd. But I only make fun of her because I know how much information is in there.
Sure.
I grabbed that, and in the Ableton manual, they explain
step by step how to do it. Yeah.
Mixing.
All right.
They explain it. You can find it for free on Google. Go find it. Artist, please.
Right.
And so I got that, and I started to realize, like, this is where I want the drums to sit. This is where I want my keys to sit. And I would argue, I would even go as far to argue to say that their standard of mixing was very much for rock music.
Right.
And what is Music Soul on Fire? A rock song.
Right.
So I got some references, because that's another thing I learned too, is like I got some references, and one of my favorite bands, Kings of Leon, was my reference. Okay. I used them. I listened to every single song that is my favorite, and I wrote down, where's the guitar sitting in this song? Where do I hear it in my ears? Where's the drums? Where are the vocals? Okay, so I also have horns, so where would I want the horns to be? Right. And I drew out this diagram of where I wanted everything placed. Sure. And I was like, okay, let me get these old files, and let me see if I can actually do this. So I sat down, and I put together like a reference mix, and I was like, that sounds freaking good. Okay. And then I sent it out to have it professionally mixed and mastered. Don't ever be afraid to send stuff out to get it professionally mixed and mastered. So I sent it out to have it, done professionally as well.
And where did you send it to?
In this case, I sent it to Shock City, so that's in St. Louis. Right. And I was still in the military at the time when I was doing all this in 18 and 19. So I was stationed in Fort Leonard Wood in Missouri. Okay. So between Chicago and
you're right
Leonard Wood,
you're right there.
Right, yeah. It's right there. So anytime I'd be home to do some stuff, and then I'd take it to Shock City, I'd record the vocals, and then I'd go back to base before I got in trouble. But we did it there, and this guy Rich, he took my notes, and he was like, oh, I got this. Okay. But he also
added his own.
Right. He understood running it, processing it through things that make it sound beefier and buffier. Right. So once we got it mastered, I heard that song, and I dang near cried, because I was like, this is
what I was hearing in my head. This is exactly what I want.
This is not what it was. Right. And I don't know if you guys use Reverb Nation, but I love Reverb Nation. It's one of my favorite tools. I still use it to this day. Yeah. But they have a feature on there where you can do a crowd review. Okay. So I did the crowd review of Music Soul on Fire back when it was basically a mono mix, right? And oh man, was the reviews not kind. And then I did another one once I got into the stereo.
Right.
It's completely different, because when you hear that rhythm over here, and then the lead here, and then we push the lead to the front and then bring it back, and side chaining on the vocals to make sure that those vocals stay up. I used to have horns in the track. I actually took it out. I used to have a lot of background vocals in the throughout the verse. Right. I took that out, and I was like, I'm just gonna keep it straight and plain. And that's also from being in the studio watching guys like Art Water, and then John Christie, just watching them, and I don't have to have all of this on my song. It's a good idea, right? But some of it's
sometimes maybe too much,
and then I just took it down. But that release of Music Soul on Fire, what we have now, it's amazing that it sounds that good, because it's everything we recorded in the basement. So you don't have to be in this super expensive studio to create good music, but you do have to have
mixing and mastering is key for it.
Or just like I said earlier, when we were talking about how they did the walls and stuff in here, you gotta have a lot of imagination, but you gotta have a little bit of know-how. So I found I had the imagination, always was there, and once I had the know-how, I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to pan this left, 20%, just so that it's a little over there, and it's a touch. And then I'm going to put a high-pass filter on this, so it pushes it back to just a bit, so it's ducking under, and it's more of a feeling than it is punching out at you. I didn't have the words to express it, but I was like, I know I want this to do and how I wanted to do it, but I didn't know. So once I learned.
As long as you get your point across.
Oh, yeah, man. I love that song. That song's so fun.
Yeah. Well, it's also learning where you need to play stuff sonically, you know, as far as, well, this guitar sounds kind of like in the same sonic range as the piano, so I got to change it up a little bit and do that differently. Yeah. But you bring up a really good point, though, is there's so much out there online that you can find. A lot of it is free. A lot of it is just, you just have to have just do it, you know, just, hey, I have this idea, go online, find it, you know, on your phone, find it. It's out there. Go and look for it, grab it. You said you found the manual, the Ableton manuals online.
Yeah.
Stuff is out there.
And I'm going to tell you, I can't use Ableton if you pay me to, okay? I'm not good at that. If you want someone that can, like Low Keyz can literally use every DAW. Excellent. I watch her go from Fruity Loops to Pro Tools to Logic to Ableton. I'm just sitting there like, you got Mixcraft?
That's outstanding.
I could use Logic too, but I started with Mixcraft, but it's just like crazy.
Okay. Well, I want to talk about Love is War. That seems to be like a centerpiece song for, at least on the SoundCloud. It's a great song. It's got a jazz feel to it, and a little bit of a rock feel, a little bit of R&B. It's like almost everything that you've up to this point that you've been drawing on in one song. Yeah, and it blends really, really well. So the lyrics are very deep. Yeah, is that from personal experience, or are you writing it third person?
No, that was all from personal experience. I had just writing that. I had just gone through a breakup, and it was like the early stages of a breakup that you didn't want to happen, that you wish that you were back there. The meaning of the song is slightly different, but that's the space that I was coming from. All right. So I'm coming from this space of longing, of like missing, right? It's just like, here's something that I had and it's now gone. But I also knew that it wasn't good for me. So it was like a battle to like, you know, not make that text message and things like that. But the actual overall, it's like, it's about questioning. Right? Relationship aside, you can be questioning anything. The relationship between you and a lover, the relationship between you and a child, a parent, but you and your own government, right? And that's why that song took off so well in South America and in Australia and New Zealand. It's because at that time they were having a lot of like turmoil and protest inside, and they used that song for some of their protests. And people would like send me the videos. I'm like, we can't even fly out of America because we were shut down. But I was like, I would love to just go
book a tour there.
Yeah, like, and we couldn't. But you know, I think it really connected with, you know, those that were questioning, like, how did we get here from where it just seemed like everything was good just yesterday, you know? And
we live in interesting times, as they say. So, but okay, I wanted to ask you though. You changed the title. You dropped the word "is" and put a colon between the two words. Why the change?
So when you add that colon, right,
or a ratio,
right, right. But when you write it out in math, right, it's going to be love over war, right? Okay, right. And so love is always greater than war.
Yes.
And that's why I ended up changing it to the colon. We still pronounce it. It still pronounces love is war. Right. Because they're two of the same. And I mean, even if we took that and we decided to multiply it, you know, by one, right? Is that how you do that? You multiply by one and then flips it?
I was bad at math.
All right.
Chicago Public Schools, 70s.
Me too.
Bad at math. Sorry.
Me too.
English and history, math gone.
Are we like the same person?
Just about.
Yeah, because math, I was like, oh, sorry. But I do remember that. Like, I think if you multiply by one, it flips it, and then it becomes like negative. Okay. But either way.
You're talking way beyond my skill set.
It'll equal like war over love. Okay. But it's going to be negative no matter how you place that equation. Okay. And like that's like some real like deep understanding of the title, but war is always bad. And I would know I fought in war. I've been in combat, and so I've seen a lot. And so war is always bad. Right. And you always want to get back to love, because you can't leave that equation that way. It can't be negative anything divided by negative anything. Right. Like math forces you, those type of equations, I forget what they're called, but they force you to multiply it by 1 so that it flips back over.
Okay.
And so it's always, all love is always going to be greater than war.
Yes.
And so I put that in there, and trust me, like when I did that, none of the guys like understood what I was going for. And it's a very deep explanation. And at the time, my foresight has always been, I'm going to have this cool thing here and somebody's going to notice it. You did. You're the first person to notice it. And then they're going to ask, and then I can actually talk about it. If no one ever asks, then we don't have to talk about it.
Right.
Like, but it's there for those that are curious. And it's like, I have a ton of Easter eggs like that all over the place. So the fact that you caught that one.
I'm going to have to dig a little deeper then. Now, I wanted to ask you, there's a video that goes along with it.
Yes.
And who put the video together?
I did. I sat down, wrote the treatment, and mostly directed it. And then I brought on my buddy Ty Omni to assist me with directing, because I used to, another guilty pleasure when I was deployed is I would play all jazz standards, but whenever I wasn't playing, I didn't have the time to do that. I would watch these vanity YouTube videos of like artists explaining like their greatest like roles or whatever. Right. And I watched one with Ben Affleck. And Ben's going through like his greatest roles. And at one point he talks about how he went from just being an actor to being an actor and director. And he looks dead at the camera. He says, if you're thinking about being an actor and director, make sure you get as many takes of yourself as possible. Because what I did was I would take 1 or 2 and think that they were good, and then I would get as many as everybody else. And then when we got to the cutting board, it's like, man, these weren't super strong. Right. And then we had to go back and reshoot myself. And I was like, well, I don't have that time because I'm not Ben Affleck. So I want someone to stand there on the other side of the camera to tell me if I look stupid.
Okay. And that's where low Keyz comes in.
Today, yeah. But at the time, it was Ty. Okay. And that's how that relationship started. All right. But everything, like I had already written it, done the storyboarding and telling like that entire story. I just need to make sure that I just wanted to make sure that we looked cool and that it came off believable. It does. You know, and most of that, especially in Love is War, when you see the band performance shots, it's believable because it was hot as heck. Okay. We were sweating. We were really dying. Like, it's like, oh God, it's so hot. Can we please? So it wasn't method acting. Oh, it was genuine. No, that was I was genuinely in anguish. So when you see that coming through our bodies, it's because we're sweating. It was hot in that factory, and
so we can check that out on your YouTube channel.
Yeah, that's on YouTube. I also just recently scheduled. Well, I scheduled them, but they're up now. So if you have DistroKid, you can find it there. But DistroKid also pushed it to a YouTube channel and was it Apple Music? Okay. So any of your streaming platforms that support music videos, they're there. Okay. Well. Excellent. And so now you won an award for that, or actually a couple of awards. Won 3 awards. Okay.
Well, you guys you need to update that website because it only says 2.
It's only 2. Okay.
It says a best cinematography at the Midwest Awards, and what was the other one here? Oh, my note got cut off. So yeah, I just had two awards.
It should have been best at show, and then we won the actual.
That was best in show. For the one.
we had best in show. We had like the overall like festival award, and then we got the best cinematography. Yeah, okay. Which is amazing because the guy who did that, Jonah Lucas, he's with this group called the Lucas Brothers, and they are literally famous guys. All right. He just so happened to be like, hey, I'm back home in Chicago. I'm gonna do a deal for some people. I'll shoot video for $500.
That's a good bargain.
I'm like, $500. I didn't even know that I didn't know anything about him and the quality, none of that stuff. And I was just like, I need a video shot. Sure, yeah. So I booked him, and he came and he did it. And some of the guys knew. It's like, dude, how'd you get Jonah Lucas? Like, I don't know. I saw him on Instagram. What? Yeah. Who is this guy? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And so he's dedicated to the craft. He suspended himself on like the car. Wow. I had a car, and he suspended himself on the car. Had someone else drive the car. And when I'm doing those running scenes, he's not strapped to anything. He's just like
just hanging on the car
for dear life. Wow. Getting the shots, and they were stable. I'm like, this dude is nuts. Yeah.
He's got some skills.
Yeah, and it came out really well. I was fortunate to work with him. It was a very a great experience. He wasn't a guy that's like full of himself because of all the stuff that he's done. But we got three awards. Okay. I will update that because
that needs to be updated.
Should be 3 there.
Yeah, pat yourself on the back. Oh, yeah, absolutely. So if you don't talk about yourself, nobody else will. Right?
That's fair. Yeah.
So next song I wanted to talk to you about. This your latest one is Fidea.
Fidea.
Okay,
yeah, that's right.
And I liked it. Parts of it, the verses reminded me of something like a Sting song. It had that kind of jazz feel to it, and then it went to more of a rock and roll chorus. It's, I don't want to say it's very different from what you've done because you do so many different things, but it's in a different direction.
Yeah.
So is this a direction you're going to now, or is this just like an offshoot just for this time and then go back to something else?
Are we going in that direction? Is it?
That direction.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, did you compose that together, or? No,
that one was still me and Isaiah Sharkey, and
okay.
I wouldn't say that we're going into the direction. I think the biggest thing from Fidea, and then there's 4 other tracks that were all recorded at Narwhal Studios in Chicago, Illinois. In 2020 with Isaiah Sharkey, who is John Mayer's guitarist. He's worked with D'Angelo, a couple other people. Like, people in the guitar world knows Isaiah.
Oh, yeah.
But
everybody else went,
yeah. He just recently did some stuff with Robert Glasper. I think they got a Grammy for that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the point was just to have the best quality possible, which doesn't even matter to me anymore. And I'll say this to you guys too. Like, music is so subjective.
Yes.
And so is quality. I've had people that have listened to my music and like, the quality is phenomenal. I had someone recently that told me that everything was trash. So if you like it, you love it, it's yours.
Right.
Promote it. Let people experience it, and whatever judgment they have, let them have that. But the truth is that it's from your heart, so don't take that stuff too personal because it's subjective. Everybody will say different. So,
well, as they say, never read the comments.
Yeah, I read, and I only read the negative ones.
That's hard. That's hard to do.
But we're just trying to push more into the space of having, the best quality possible with every song and every release. And that was because I was reading like negative comments and they helped because I went back and I, redid Music Soul on Fire, which was a great thing for Music Soul on Fire.
Oh, yeah.
And then where Fidea comes in at, I just really wanted to push the limit of where we have worked with, because I've done so much stuff by myself up to this point.
Right.
Like, every song is basically me. There were guys that came along, but they come on the very back end. I've never had anyone in the studio from the very beginning, telling me like, hey, don't do it like that. It's like, but I've been doing it like this forever. Why should I not?
Why should I change now? Yeah.
And so I actually used it as what I call a crucible.
Okay.
Because I knew that Isaiah was going to bring ideas that I'd never done before, and I know the caliber that and the level that he's working at. Now, just to give some background, up until then, like the song right before that, Pick Up Your Phone, the drummer that drummed on that for us, so these are like the session guys that played on it. He was a drummer for Alicia Keys and Kanye West, and a couple of other big names under his belt. I recently I saw him. He commented on like one of our Instagram posts, and I was like, "Oh, dude, I haven't seen you in forever. How's everything going?" The bass player, like a year after he did Pick Up Your Phone, ended up doing like becoming like getting an award for like the best bassist in the world or something like that. It was a magazine spread and everything. And I never met him. It was just I just knew he was a session guy who played.
Right, he played on the
because
song,
I was deployed and I needed the pieces in place for when I got back so I could do the guitars and stuff. And so like I had some pretty big people that I worked with.
Right.
But I was only learning on the back end. Like, oh, I like the approach that they took on this. Because I heard all their raw files before we edited them. And so this was the first time that I'm like, I've got a big name that's right here with me every day. So I use it as a crucible. I learned so much. Like, I watched him take things from, his cell phone. Right. He had his cell phone, put in a dongle, had this little, like, pad on the thing, and just started going
off the phone.
And before I know it, he started like adding the live instrumentation. He's like, okay, get in there and play this, play it this way.
Play it this way.
And I'm
right.
like, okay, whatever that is. And he did that on Don't String Me Along. And so I got there and I was just like, wow, this is crazy. So I say this, and I say this because it's true. Like, everything that I did and learned from Isaiah Sharkey, like literally Keyz can do, if not better. And I know that's a huge, I'm just, because I've seen you work.
Okay.
Right? I've seen you work. I've seen him work.
I believe she's blushing.
And I've seen you work and I've seen him work. And I'm just like, okay, if this isn't the same, because it feels the same for sure. So it's there. Okay. But it's also better. So we're trying to push into a space of having the best quality and the coolest arrangement that we can.
Right.
And so, the stuff that's coming up in the works is going to be at that same level, if not better.
Okay, so now we're talking about the recording end of things, and I was starting to think that, okay, you've done a lot of studio recording with, amazing players and tracking songs, and sometimes songs can be tracked so much that it's hard to recreate live. How's that live experience coming for you guys? Actually, let me ask.
I was about to say, like, this is where Lo comes in.
I was going to ask Lo Keyz about the live experience and how to. Are you the band arranger and band leader when it comes to musical director?
So we actually have 2 MDs.
Okay.
I'm like the assistant MD.
Assistant MD.
But at the same
allegedly,
time,
she's the MD.
I'm the assistant. But anyways, it was one song that he started. He went to the studio. He got a reference for.
Sure.
Got all the instruments in there. And the only problem that we were having playing it live was that we didn't have as many elements to play it live, so we had all the instruments that we needed. But sometimes you just need an additional person.
Right, there's something's got to be there.
Exactly. So what I did was, and he mentioned this earlier, but I just took maybe a couple of hours and I sat through, and in my head I'm like, okay,
how do I do
drums,
this?
Do this. And they started out really simple, and then by the end of the song, the drum is supposed to be doing a whole bunch more, basically from the beginning.
Okay.
And then we didn't really have much of a horn part in there. So I added a horn part, and I had it playing along with the guitar, so it's kind of like a call and response type of thing. And then I've added, we had the other keys. There was a whole different intro that I did, and I made it so that everyone could play something.
Good.
And then this particular song also had a lot of background vocals. And we were struggling because it was only like 3 of us at the time that were actually singing these background parts, but we couldn't do them all together. So we would end up, singing one part, and then we had to stop and then sing another part. So it wasn't really fluid. So it just had a lot of, it was difficult for it to translate sometimes when we were playing it live. So I ended up, in the back of my mind, I said, hey, well, why don't I just have the trumpets do this part and the horns do this part? And then we could focus on the others, Well, it's, again, we were talking about earlier, it's the imagination and the creativity applied to a space. In
rehearsal, she also makes sure that people are playing the parts to the recording.
Of course.
Because they'll be like, no, you're not playing that right. I'm like,
right, because it loses the feel.
Yeah.
You want to keep the vibe and feel of the song, but you don't want to limit people to what they're,
Yeah.
I mean, so there's some things like, you got to play it this way. This is how I wrote it. This is how I want it. It's got to be played that way.
Yeah.
Other stuff, fine, I'm a little okay, let you slide, but this has got to be done this way.
Absolutely.
So, as far as a live experience, where can we see you guys playing live?
We'll be at Macho Saloon.
All right. When?
July 28th.
Next Sunday.
Wow.
Yep, next Sunday. And then we'll be at Navy Pier, the Miller Beer Garden in the back, August 18th. And that's at 2 p.m.
All right.
And then that same day, we'll be back at Montrose.
Wow. Okay.
At 5.
Double duty.
Yeah, 5 p.m. Actually, it's kind of like a, quadruple duty?
Really?
Because the band that's opening for us, Viano and the Wave, actually are 3 of the members of Attack the Sound.
Okay.
So we're having them open for us at Navy Pier.
Nice.
And then we're just going to come up afterwards and load up, and then we're all going to play together as Attack the Sound. Then we're going to go to Montrose on the 18th, and they're going to play before us.
Okay.
And then we're going to, Keyz and I and the horns are going to come up, and we're going to set up around them, and then we're going to play at Montrose. So we, some people are going to be playing like 4 times that day, but we're all going to like rock together.
Sure.
You know? I'll probably get some coffees or some Red Bull or something. We'll need it.
You can take what I brought.
Save it until then. Yeah. And then we got a few more for anybody that's out there that is listening, or if you're in Memphis, Tennessee, we'll be at Springboard Festival October 16th to the 20th.
Wow.
And then anyone that is in college, if you guys are in college and you're listening, if you're in your student like activity board, or I'm not sure what they call them nowadays, but we'll be at NACA, the National Association for College Activities. We'll be at that conference in Lexington, which is in November. Can't think of the date, but if you're a NACA member or plan on being at the conference,
come and say hi.
Come say hi. We'll have a booth and everything. We'll see you there.
Oh wow, nice.
Yeah. And then Moonlight Studios, we're doing a fundraiser for The Simple Good, which is a non-for-profit that helps inner city youth, and they have a fundraiser October 12th, I want to say. I think it's the week before we go to Springboard Festival, but that's going to be at Moonlight Studios.
Okay. Wow, full agenda.
Yeah.
All right, so now I kind of like to wrap up with some fun questions. So we're going to go back and forth between you two. Your musical Mount Rushmore. 4 faces on the mountain. Who are your players? Ladies first, of course.
Go ahead.
So low keys.
Okay, for me, I listen to a lot of different music.
Sure.
I'm gonna give you one that you may or may not have heard of. His name is Kurt Elling.
Okay.
She loves Kurt.
I love Kurt Elling. He's a jazz musician.
Okay. Piano player?
Vocals.
Oh, no. Okay, vocalist.
And he always has his band, and he does covers of jazz standards. And I started listening to him back when I was a kid. So I listened to him for a while. He's one of them.
All right.
I would say Michael Jackson.
Hold on. We're gonna go back. Yeah.
Okay.
Keep that. Keep that one in queue.
Staying in the course of jazz, and it's interesting.
Go anywhere with it
because, one of my Mount Rushmores actually is like a mirror of hers. Richard Cheese.
Oh wow!
Yeah, the lounge singer. I love Richard Cheese. But if you know Richard Cheese,
Lounge Against the Machine. Yeah, I remember that album. That was I know. Yeah.
But if you like Richard Cheese, it's similar to the he sounds similar to the guy she just mentioned.
It's almost like he's also in that vein of like what's that Puddles Pity Party.
Oh yeah,
Puddles, right?
Because they were all a part of the postmodern jukebox.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah. That's how I got into a lot of that stuff. I was like, man, this is great.
And how they can take all these contemporary songs and different styles, know. And let's take a 9 Inch Nails song and make it like 40s bebop or something. It's like fantastic.
They're the real Attack the Sound.
Oh yeah. So number 2.
Number 2 would be Michael Jackson.
Okay.
For me. He has such a range of music. My favorite song actually is PYT and then Heaven Can Wait.
Yeah, I like The Way You Make Me Feel. That's mine. I love that groove. Man.
Yeah, so he has so much, and it's hard not to listen to it. It's everywhere. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he's my favorite.
Number 2.
My number 2 is Prince. He doesn't need a reason. That's it. That's all.
Okay. I'm totally with you. Totally understandable and got it.
Vocalist, musician. He's better than Michael.
Well, I would always. He's better than your favorite guitar player. He's better than your favorite singer. He's better than your favorite songwriter. Dude. That's what I would tell people about Prince.
Anybody that played in Prince's band, Prince was like, I can do your part, 10 times better.
Oh, yeah.
So be good. And I'm just like, dude, like I was listening to this bassist talk about when he got hired, and he's like, it's weird when you like meet someone who can literally play your instrument better than you. Like, what do you need me for? Oh, so you can get up on stage, run around and dance and stuff. Right. Okay, got it. But I know I got to be good because he could just come up and take it and be like, play like this. And after he plays it, he's firing you. Right. His stories like that. It's like, you didn't play the guitar. Let me see that. Yeah. Watch this. You're fired. Like, wow. Like, can I be Prince?
Yeah. Did you see the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction for George Harrison when he did the solo at the end for While My Guitar Gently Weeps?
No.
This is another one of those.
Oh, for when Prince did it. I saw that video. Yeah, absolutely.
I always tell people, just watch this. Just, Prince, he has all this dancing. No. Watch this.
Yeah, Mike can moonwalk.
But Prince can play. I like Michael, but Michael, you can't do that on guitar. So, all right, so we got 2. Number 3.
I'm going to do R&B now.
Okay.
I'm gonna say Lauryn Hill for me.
All right, yeah.
Even though she's had that one album.
Yeah.
But for me,
it was
a great album. And when I saw her in Sister Act 2, it was like the stories were a little similar. I related, you know, and just seeing her, you know, on the acting side, and then just her musically, you know, she's one of my favorites.
Excellent. All right. Number 3.
It's definitely going to be John Legend.
Okay.
The man, the myth, the legend himself, John Legend. He's amazing. Yeah. John, if you're watching,
call me.
Yeah. let's work. Yeah. Let's work, man.
Excellent. All right. Number 4.
Number 4. Let me see. I'm going to have to say this is my personal favorite.
Sure.
Robin Thicke.
Robin Thicke, okay. Why is that? It's kind of coming. He's got a lot of albums actually, and each album there was maybe 3 or 4 or 5 songs that I could relate to. Okay. That sounded good instrumentally. He did kind of like a rock song here and there, and you go back and do like a smooth, you know, type of song, and I'm just like, I love it. I like the variety. Right. Well, let's bring that to the band as well.
Exactly. So yeah, it would be Robin Thicke.
Hey, excellent. Number 4.
My number 4 is our lists are so similar but so different. It's hilarious.
That's great, though.
My number 4 would be Alan Stone. Alan Stone. And I was like, how'd you end up picking a white guy last? Like, you know, a blue-eyed soul, basically a blue-eyed soul singer. We both got a blue-eyed soul singer. Alan Stone is an amazing vocalist. He's an amazing musician, and he's got such great vibrato and control over his voice. Like, his story was similar to mine, like, because he was busking a lot and, you know, traveling. And I never really got out to, you know, the West Coast. I think I would, if I would have done really well. But he got out to the West Coast and was really able to show his stuff. And, you know, just seeing where he's at now, and it's like, yo, we have that similarity of some of the long coding notes or the soul that's in there, but also like the busking background. It's like, I like this guy. I like everything about him. Like, I want to cover every one of his songs, but it doesn't always, you know, doesn't always fit my voice. But it's great stuff he's got there.
Okay. It's going to be the last one. Pick a number between 1 and 10.
4.
Okay. Would you rather be able to read people's minds or make yourself invisible?
Ooh. I'd rather be invisible.
Okay. Why is that?
Well, because even if, you know, when you're not in the room, at least for me, I know people will say what they're going to say. So if I'm invisible, I can just walk right in the room.
And turn yourself visible and give them a smack.
Basically, I think reading minds would be too much for me. That's something I just don't want to know.
I'm reading minds all day long. What are you talking about?
And you can do other things when you're invisible. Places that you probably couldn't go. You need a ticket to get in. You can just go right in. So. Okay.
All right. So, number between 1 and 10, except for.
I want to go with lucky number 7.
Okay. Would you rather never have to sleep or never have to eat?
Never sleep.
Never sleep.
Never sleep.
Okay.
I would rather never sleep, because if I never had this, first of all, I can eat as much as I want, right? Okay. And if you're never sleeping, your metabolism's always intact. So
Sure.
I'm not going to get big here. And it's just not enough hours in the day.
Yeah.
And Lo knows this, but I can work all day.
I get that vibe from you. I get that feeling from you.
Yeah, and all the time too.
Yeah.
And so if I had that
More
where
time,
I didn't have to sleep, I'm like, okay, no, you go to sleep. I'm going to work on this until until you come back. I'm going to figure this thing out. I'd be so much.
Come back when you're rested. I'll still be here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well read, well informed, and just I started doing the wake up early thing, especially like after the military, because of different time zones.
Sure.
I wake up early and I would hit up A&Rs that are in the UK and in Africa, because it's like afternoon for them.
Yeah, it's 8 hours ahead.
Yeah, and it's great time to do that. And if I didn't have to sleep, I could be doing that across the entire world at all times. Like, check out our music. Here we are. This is what we got. I
love your business approach. I got to start adopting some of that stuff. So, guys, thank you so much. This was so much fun. I hope you enjoyed yourselves.
Yeah.
Okay.
And look forward to coming to see you guys live, either at Montrose or at Navy Pier.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.